hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Thank you once again for joining me today on our regularly scheduled Thursday morning podcast. Thank you again for joining. Minnesota Wild, well, this last week, they went 0-3 at home, and, well, we got a road win. So the Minnesota Wild literally X'd at the X. The home record is abysmal, to say the least. 3 games under 500 now at this stage. It is just getting worse and worse and worse at home for this season. Remember, last year we lost 2 regular season games at home after Christmas. We being the Minnesota Wild, of course, and this year, just, wow. I mean, they're just piling up. I mean, we already beat that in this last week, so... yeah, it's not been good. Obviously, we all know what the playoffs did, how things turned out there. But, again, a team that protects home ice, or at least they used to at times, can't protect home ice whatsoever. You got a nice little road win against a not-so-good New Jersey Devils team. And, well, I don't know, you just stink it up at home. But, well, we lost a road game as well. Not a good week for the Minnesota Wild. 1-3-0. At the end of the day, losing at home to the Edmonton Oilers once again on the 7th of February. The Wild cannot beat the Edmonton Oilers anymore, and the Minnesota Wild cannot score on Cam Talbot. Okay, we can't score on Cam Talbot, whose goals against average is like 3.5 or something like that. It's ridiculous. Like, what the hell? And then Darnell Nurse always seems to find a way to score against the Minnesota Wild as well. That always feels so nice. Just not been a good run. Not been a good run for Minnesota whatsoever. 4-1 loss at home. Difficult for me to accept. A hapless, lifeless game. Minnesota is now 2 games above 500, like just barely hanging on to the final wildcard spot. I don't even know how you can with only 2 games above 500. That's not good at all in the NHL. Usually that means you're out of it. Back in the old days, you could be like 6-7 games out of 500 and still be like the 7th seed in the Campbell Conference or Prince of Wales Conference back in the day, which I suppose it's still secretly the Campbell Conference, but of course teams like reorganized due to regions and all that. So, whatever. At the end of the day, yeah, it is what it is. The Wild have a 2-point lead over the Vancouver Canucks, 4-point lead over the Arizona Coyotes, 4-point lead over the surging Chicago Blackhawks. Colorado Avalanche also out of the playoffs. Edmonton Oilers might as well catch us. The Anaheim Ducks finally fired Randy Carlyle. God bless him and everything, but it just didn't work out at all. Bruce Boudreau's replacement. So, Bruce Boudreau is extremely frustrated with this club. He doesn't understand what the hell is going on. There's almost nothing left to do. The Oilers' 6-game losing streak comes to an end against Minnesota, where in the past, it used to be a not-so-good Minnesota Wild team was sucking, and then you beat the Edmonton Oilers. That's how you end the streak, because you get the rusty machine, the rusty engine's not working so good, so you oil it with the Edmonton Oilers, which I used to joke about. And, yeah, well, it's been the opposite now. It's not working out. They're oiling themselves, and we're getting nothing. We're getting nowhere. These hapless, boring games, that just leads you to utter frustration. The major positive coming out of this week is, well, for one, Jared Spurgeon continues to be a spectacular player for Minnesota. Just another huge week again. He's now at 35 points on the season. Wow, what a run for Jared Spurgeon. Hope he continues to stay healthy. 50 points is right around the corner, I got to think, as we're just at Valentine's Day here. About a month and a half remaining in the season, so still a legitimate shot at 50 points for Jared Spurgeon, especially if he keeps up this clip. But no, the other major positive is Joel Eriksson has been a jewel of a player since his third call-up now. He's been kind of back and forth. Obviously started the season with Minnesota as he did last year and stayed up here pretty much the whole year for the longest time. Finally got sent down as I was requesting, and a few other people. And Luke Kunin also called up, sent down, and the trades and all that, and it was called up ultimately. Injury to Koivu for Mr. Joel Eriksson, and of course Kunin also called up as guys like J.T. Brown and Nate Prosser were sent down because we just had to get Bitetto in the lineup. Mr. Bitetto, who shows promise at times defensively, but other times lacking. He's lacking mentally, like he doesn't have the mental game out there at times. But no, Joel Eriksson, to get to the point, and Luke Kunin have been downright spectacular the past 2 weeks. This week they really stepped up. You got to see Luke Kunin with a 2-goal game. And Eriksson setting up other plays, and also he scored the only goal in this game. Great effort by Eriksson on the puck at all times. His defense is great. You're even seeing these two guys play on the second power play unit at times, and it's extremely encouraging. And they deserve to be on the second power play unit at the end of the day. Eriksson making some nice passes, great effort, staying on the puck. Love what Eriksson has brought to this team. And Luke Kunin also, again, tenacious. A lot like Zach Parise. Tenacious, kind of close in there. And he's doing a hell of a job at the end of the day. Really happy with what Luke Kunin has brought to Minnesota. Ultimately getting an assist on the lone goal for Minnesota. But it was just kind of one softie after another. Again, Dubnyk has been giving up soft goals. And he's been getting beaten 5-hole like crazy lately. And you're seeing pucks squirt through there as well. Because I'm beginning to wonder if it's fatigue or injury for Devin Dubnyk, because he's been getting beaten 5-hole constantly. And it's like he knows the puck is down there, and he still continues to fail to close on a lot of those. I don't know if it's an injured knee, injured ankle going on. It seems like a knee to me, like if his knee is just not healthy. And that's why some of these are squirting through. And that's kind of been the case. That was like the theme throughout this entire week. And I don't know. I mean, I would have... I don't even know where to go with it. It's extremely frustrating. But a 4-1 loss, you almost want to just get through this as quick as possible. Darnell Nurse always seems to find a way to put the puck behind Dubnyk in these games. Leon Draisaitl, that was a really nice play, by the way. Tic-tac-toe play, spectacular setup. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Alex Chasson setting up Leon Draisaitl. 32nd goal of the season. The guy is a legitimate star in this league on the power play there, but a beautiful tic-tac-toe goal. Zach Kassian ended up finishing things at the empty net. Connor McDavid with 49 assists throughout the season. Pretty great. Obviously setting players up in this game. As Connor McDavid definitely being a great teammate here, not going for the empty net goal. Interesting. Sorry, I'm just seeing stuff flash on the screen here. Jorge Polanco. Nice infielder for the Twins, looking like he might get a 7-year extension. Wow, cool. Sorry. But no, Connor McDavid going the teammate route rather than going for the empty netter and setting up his buddy Zach Kassian for the 7th goal of the season there. But at the end of the day, what we care about is not Connor McDavid setting up his teammates. We care about, Eriksson and Luke Kunin are looking like legitimate NHL players now. So that's awesome. That's the positive you can come out of this week in this game here, particularly. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? What a hapless bullcrap game. Minnesota Wild fan base is getting quieter and quieter at games, and I am not at all I am not at all one of the people that's like, the fans need to support this team and get on their feet and celebrate, and pump them up. They're not helping. No, they're not happy, and they're disappointed, and they're kind of in shock because you're losing at home to an Edmonton team that had lost 6 in a row. They're good. They have good players, but they have a lot of junk too. And Cam Talbot is junk. And you're getting shut out by Cam bleeping Talbot. So I am not angry at all at the fans for booing. I am not angry at all at the fans for being lifeless, because the team was lifeless. Come on, team, pump the fans up a little bit, eh? Pump the fans up. Wouldn't you like that? Let's head to New Jersey on the 9th of February. 4-1 BS loss. 4-2 victory over the New Jersey Devils, though, 8th place in the Metropolitan Division, as they continue to struggle. They're 6 games under 500. Again, 8th place. Minnesota Wild. I'm stunned that they're still hanging on to the record, but a multi-point game for Luke Kunin. Beautiful. Ended up getting 3 goals this week. What a week for Luke Kunin. What a week for Mr. Luke Kunin. He was able to also add his 8th assist on the season on the Marcus Foligno goal. As Marcus Foligno, this third line, I love him. As Mr. Rask. I keep wanting to call him Tuukka Rask because I'm so used to Tuukka Rask of the Boston Bruins, but Victor Rask has been centering the 4th line with guys like Eric Fair and such. But overall, wow, Eriksson, Marcus Foligno, and Luke Kunin, gotta love these guys working together out there. Marcus Foligno's been playing out there on the left side, of course, Kunin on the right, but occasionally Foligno plays on the right side on the 4th line, due to just the situation. I mean, he can occasionally play on the right side, though he continues to shoot left. Understandable there. Foligno ended up getting the Gordie Howe hat trick in this game. Got in a fight and all that. Got a goal and ended up with 2 assists. So it was a Gordie Howe hat trick with an added assist. This was a fun game. A very fun game on the road. Enjoyed every second of this one. Multi-point game for Kunin. Eriksson also solid game. He was a +2. Added his 4th goal of the season, Very cool to see him stepping up out there. Again, just tenacious. It's all about these guys. I mean, and of course, Parise, Mr. Consistency all season. Parise adding his 22nd goal of the season. He would get his 23rd later this week as well in one of those yucky home losses. One of the yucky home losses against Philadelphia anyway. But Parise, what a nice, consistent season he has had. It's a shame he didn't get to be the last man in, but again, I mean, Landeskog has like 30 goals on the season. As much as we hate his guts, it kind of is what it is there. But it's this third line. The third line is carrying this team. I mean, take a look. Marcus Foligno, pattern with his third assist. Wow, that's a miracle. And Kunin, obviously joining in now, and Eriksson and Kunin also scoring the fourth goal, unassisted later there off a turnover. Kunin has been great. 3 of the goals were accounted for on that third line. So, need I say more? I mean, Granlund has been inconsistent. He sets players up. There's opportunities. He doesn't shoot enough, and when he does shoot, it's right into the goalie's stomach half the time or the chest. So it just kind of is what it is there. But that third line for Minnesota has really stepped up and has been beautiful. You have players playing out of position because of the way things are set up by the general manager here. And I'm not sure with the defenseman situation. I mean, Brad Hunt can't crack the lineup now because Mr. Bitetto, who I do like a little bit. I like his name. I like the way he talks. He seems like a cool guy. I like when he just plays a solid game, but the mental errors are frustrating. The line changes or, kind of caught sleeping on a play last week. It was just an embarrassing play. You got Steeler and Pattern back together, which I think is good. But then you have Brodin playing on the right side. I'm kind of confused there with that one. Very strange situation. You have Brodin playing out of position in certain cases, playing with Bitetto. It's a mess because you don't want to have Pattern and Bitetto together. It seems like Steeler and Pattern are definitely a better, more solid duo down there. The chemistry is better. But again, Brodin playing on the right side, it's just... So things are not being set up properly here by this general manager right now. I like Fenton. I know he's an intelligent hockey guy, but some of these moves are just strange. And when's the next move? Because obviously there has to be something coming. Don't trade Kunin or Eriksson because they're finally starting to look like legitimate NHL players and they're giving us hope. That would just figure if one of them gets traded, wouldn't it? But no, this third line definitely carrying the Minnesota Wild, particularly in this game, but really the entire week. And the other 2 players, of course, Mr. Consistency, Zach Parise, and Mr. Jared Spurgeon has been spectacular all season, particularly after the loss of... unfortunately. Spurgeon had 4 shots on goal. I'm surprised he didn't score in this game, but again, very, very strong performance. Anthony Bitetto has been on the second pairing with Brodin, like I said, and I don't know. He's okay. He gets the hits. He's a physical guy. He blocks shots, but the mental errors are exhausting. Bitetto, 7 hits in the game, by the way, against the New Jersey Devils. Extremely impressive at the end of the day, but a 4-2 victory. Solid overall performance. Marcus Foligno had a highlight reel type of play. 5th goal of the season to tie things up. But that's also been the trend, is Minnesota's always giving up the first goal, and that goal by Brett Seney was extremely frustrating. Again, another softie. I mean, from long distance away, it would help if players were in better position to block the puck and everything. And sometimes some of these goals are also given up because of poor screening in front of... You're actually screening your own goalie, which isn't helping. Nick Steeler on this one. Brett Seney getting his 5th goal of the season to open things up. Again, Minnesota always having to catch up in every single bleeping game. And I don't know. It's not good. It's not been good at all. You head to New York. I picked the score dead on, but I didn't pick the goaltender. I thought you were going to see I really thought you were going to see Mr. Stalock in it, but Bruce Boudreau elects to stay with Dubnyk, who, again, I think is hurt a little bit because some of these 5-hole goals reek of his motion. His movement is not where it needs to be. He's not able to move quick enough to close the gap there. And I don't know. He keeps getting beat 5-hole. Granlund finally added his 13th goal of the season. It took about 20 years. But it took about 2 months, for crying out loud, after starting off the season spectacular fashion. He was like a sniper earlier in the season, and it was like, oh my God, he's going to get 90 points. He's going to get 35 goals. Oh man, I was so excited. 35 goals, 55 assists, 90 points, all-star without a doubt. Starting all-star type of player. And then next thing you know, well, it took like months to get to number 13. But he got it. And he's been at the center position now as... Boudreau moving the lines around a bit some more. Mikhail Granlund, again, at the center position, and that's cool. Good for him. He's been playing the center since the Koivu injury, so that's ultimately what happened there. And Joel Eriksson, again, centering the third line and doing a hell of a job. I love that third line. This is the only game where the third line didn't score, but they were still very much a factor throughout the game, getting scoring chances. But Mr. Greasy has been spectacular. Greasy. Out of Germany there, only giving up 1 goal. The New York Islanders' defense has been spectacular, and the New York Islanders' goaltending has been spectacular throughout the entire season. Lehner and Greasy basically platooning throughout the season, only giving up 1 goal, and they are just dominating. 33, 17, and 6, leading the way in that Metropolitan Division. The Islanders had struggled a little bit going into this one, but boy, they put the clamps on. They did a hell of a job. Love what they're doing there in Brooklyn. I wish it was the Isle still, but maybe it will be again at some point. As of course, again, the defending Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals, Barry Trotz, doing a spectacular job coming in and really putting the clamps down defensively with this New York team, and they're still, again, scoring goals. No John Tavares, no problem. They lose their franchise player, and other players step up. The defense is like a bajillion times better, and again, the goaltending is a bajillion times better. Great job by the New York Islanders throughout the course of this season. Not the most exciting game ever. In fact, it was flat boring. It was like Patriots versus Rams, you could say. Very low-scoring game. Devin Dubnyk ended up stopping 32 shots. He was awesome in the game. He did great. This was his best game coming off a back-to-back after beating the New York Islanders the day before. New Jersey Devils the day before, only giving up 2 goals. Only gave up 2 in this one, but it wasn't enough because, again, the Islanders getting the job done, blocking shot after shot after shot as the Wild would get countless opportunities, but everything was stopped. I mean, not countless, but they'd get their power play opportunities and such, and the Islanders just, the pucks weren't even getting on net because that's how good this Islanders defense is. Guys getting in front and getting the job done. Kyle Rao also. Kyle Rao being a part of things. That fourth line, Victor Rask, Eric Fair, and Kyle Rao, yeah, they're okay. They're okay. I mean, Victor Rask just adequate out there. He's not that bad, but I guess he's in his appropriate role. And it's just, you know what? See, This just figures, doesn't it? How Nino Niederreiter was stuck on the fourth line because, well, everybody's a bleeping left shot. We could thank Chuck Fletcher for that. But now this coach, this new general manager is just bringing in left shot defensemen, so you're getting a similar problem there. So I can imagine the frustrating Bruce Boudreau's going through. So again, you trade away Nino Niederreiter because he was stuck on the fourth line, and okay, now he's doing better because he's playing with better players. He's moved up and all that because the roster's more balanced in Carolina, and they have a shot of making the playoffs with a much better record in the Eastern Conference. You bring in Victor Rask. He's still got lots of term on his contract, just slightly cheaper, about $1.2 million cheaper. And he's a center, so yeah, centers are more valuable than left wingers, not right wingers, left wingers in Nino Niederreiter's case. Nino Niederreiter able to play second line, top 6 type of action out there. Victor Rask, well, where is he? On the fourth line. So you traded away a guy that was on the fourth line to move this guy on the fourth line. So it just kind of is what it is. And the sad part is, as well, Victor Rask belongs on the fourth line. So you traded a fourth liner for a fourth liner, I guess. So you certainly, I guess it's a fair trade. Not. Because Nino Niederreiter, generally on a better roster, should be higher up on the lineup and everything. Again, the guy wasn't producing here, even though he was in the top 6 role on occasion during the course of the season, but also playing out of position, so that doesn't help. Again, you got to balance the bleeping roster. And finally, well, I can't say the Wild have done that, but there's certain players, obviously, Coyle, Kunin, actually do shoot right, so they're actually playing in an appropriate spot. But defensively, we're stuck. Completely stuck defensively. Anthony Bitetto. I mean, this guy, Bitetto, is, I kept calling him Bitetto last show. I don't know. I mean, why is he playing so many minutes? I mean, again, second pairing, it just seems weird that his role is so elevated, and it's just you're stuck in that situation as well. I don't know, man. I mean, there'll be a method to this madness, hopefully, in a year or two, and it'll be like, man, Paul Fenton, it looked weird for a year or two there, but oh boy, this is starting to take shape, and it's a beautiful thing. I don't know, but at least some of Fletcher's picks are starting to come around in Yuletide. The jewel of a player, Eriksson and Luke Kunin. A couple of first rounders, again, back-to-back, 15-16, respectively. Fun stuff indeed. A very fun game on Tuesday the 12th of February. Fun game. Again, that was Sunday the 10th in terms of the New York Islanders game. Fun game against Philadelphia. The home crowd let the players know how much they enjoyed it at the end there, and I don't blame them one bit. Not one bleeping bit. Another goal. First goal allowed to the game, again by Minnesota. Provorov, the nice up-and-coming defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers. Not even 3 minutes into the game. Half the fans not even in their seats. 1-0 Philly. No problem, though. Minnesota would score 3 straight goals. Zach Parise. Again, Mr. Consistency scoring on the power play. Great play there. 23rd goal of the season. Luke Kunin, literally one-timing off of a terrible turnover. But we'll take it any day. Literally one-timed it off the turnover. That was beautiful. I believe it was Provorov there. I believe it was. I could be wrong. But third goal of the season for Luke Kunin. And then Eriksson kind of doing what Granlund does, basically, going behind the net. Or occasionally Zucker to Granlund. Granlund to Zucker or Zucker to Granlund, whatever it is. Back and forth situation there. Zucker and Granlund would work together on Granlund's goal earlier against the New York Islanders. That was a great play by Zucker again. Those two guys, the chemistry is great. When they're playing well, it's beautiful hockey. But Joel Eriksson and Luke Kunin working together on this one again. Behind the net, great pass to Luke Kunin, and he finishes, in Kunin's case, multiple goal game. And it's like, Kunin's going to get a hat trick. I got a feeling, here we go. First career hat trick. He got one in Iowa right out of the gate. He had a couple in college. Here we go. Luke Kunin's going to get a hat trick. Get the hats ready to go. And it just never happened. Despite the effort was there and all that. But it just never happened. Heartbreaking. Jared Spurgeon, another great game. 2 assists and a goal. A spectacular goal. Kind of albeit a little bit lucky in a sense as well. Parise's goal was a very tough angle, but a great play. 23rd goal of the season. Spurgeon's was even crazier as it went under the crossbar and literally under the net. As the net lifted, it raised up out of the ground a tiny bit and it came out from underneath there. It was clearly crossed the line, but you couldn't tell in the bang moment. So that's why the play wasn't stopped right away. Really cool goal by Jared Spurgeon, the 11th goal of the season. But at the end of the day, again, big breakdowns. And that was Jared Spurgeon's goal, put the Wild up 4-3. But again, the 2 goals by Philadelphia, again, just extremely frustrating. Wild defense not where it needed to be. On one of the goals, Claude Giroux's goal was the most frustrating of all because, caught during a line change defensively where there's just no reason for players to be leaving the ice in this situation. It was a 2-on-0, and Claude Giroux just took advantage. He was like, I don't know how many steps ahead of any Minnesota Wild defender in this case because there was just nobody there. Guys were coming off the ice, leaving Spurgeon and Suter sprawling, hoping to God as they were coming on the ice after the idiotic line change there, defensive pairing change. And just nothing to do. Stay on the ice, damn it. That's all you had to do. Stay on the ice for another couple seconds, clear the puck, dump it in the zone, whatever the hell, and then you can make your damn change. Heck, take a bleeping icing if you have to. It'd be wiser than having Claude Giroux, Mr. Franchise Player for Philadelphia, pretty much all by himself there to do whatever he bleeping wanted. And that's what happened. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But again, Dubnyk continuing to struggle in this game. Reimsdick, JVR as they call him, a couple of power play goals in this one. Dumb penalties that screwed the Wild down the stretch. Sealer, again, not a helpful penalty. You need him on the ice, or at least, power plays giving up penalties that really bit the Wild in the ass in this game. Poor play by Minnesota. Golden opportunity as well when, and again, a bad call by the referee that the Minnesota Wild favored in. So we can't blame the refs for everything, that's for damn sure. Jordan Greenway caught Zucker pretty good in the nose, causing blood. And, well, it was a 4-minute penalty for Minnesota in our favor. And it just left Philadelphia like, okay. They called it on Robert Hagg when it was Jordan Greenway. And Jordan Greenway was on the bench, got a chuck leg saying, my bad, to Jason Zucker, as Jason Zucker was clearly struggling with the pain there. Hit pretty hard in the nose of the stick. They called Robert Hagg for high sticking, and of course, with the blood being caused, it was a 5-minute, like a major penalty. 4-minute major penalty, like a double there. 4 minutes, the Wild muster 1 shot on goal. Philadelphia gets the job done again, and Philadelphia could be trying to make the playoffs here as they're just playing great hockey. Carter Hart not even in net in this one. Some guy called Anthony Stolarz, despite facing 39 shots and giving up 4 goals, still wound up with the win. Minnesota should have won this bleeping game. Dubnyk was not good. The defense in front of him was not good. The mental mistakes were killer. The stupid penalties were killer. And not capitalizing at the end of the day here in this 4-minute penalty. 4-minute bleeping penalty to only get one shot on net during the 4-minute penalty was just killer. And that cost the Wild a golden opportunity to end their losing streak and get back in the mix here. At least come out of this four-game stretch 2-2. Come out with a split somehow, some way. I mean, at least maybe even come out with a point if it's 5-4 because of some stupid overtime or stupid overtime goal or shootout or whatever. But somehow come out of it with something. And the Wild couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. And extremely frustrating at the end of the day. 2 goals for Kunin, extremely encouraging. Both him and Eriksson were a +3 in this game, despite the complete total letdown, breakdowns defensively, mental errors. Kunin and Ek escaped this one with a +3. That is just awesome. Awesome. And they deserve a hand there. What a week. What a couple of weeks for Eriksson, and Luke Kunin. Awesome. But so it's nice to end positively thinking about that. But golden opportunities just completely let go here. And Minnesota screwing around with Philadelphia. I just knew this was going to be a tough game. I actually picked the Wild to lose this one. But I thought Minnesota was going to beat the bleeping Edmonton Oilers. And Minnesota did not show up at all against the bleeping Edmonton Oilers. With that said, another long first segment because it's 4 games and a lot of nonsense going on. No trades yet, as the trade deadline is still looming. We'll see what happens. Something's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be a major trade, but who knows? Who knows? Don't be surprised if Eric Staal is traded. I think that's heavily favored actually that he's going to get traded. The only problem is who do you put at center? I guess you got to think about Coyle there for sure at that point, and then go from there. I suppose. Don't call J.T. Brown back up, please. That's okay, really. Give Sam Anas a chance, damn it. Give Sam Anas a chance. Right shot, right wing. Sam Anas, he could replace Coyle's spot on the right wing, and Coyle could be the center. There's your solution. There it is. Sam Anas, NHL, baby. Okay, Neil Brodin / Mike Modano award for this episode. It could be Spurgeon, it could be Kunin, it could be Ek. I'm going to give it to all 3 of them because they played awesome. They carried this team, and Zach Parise obviously is always an honorable mention every stinking week. I mean, Zach Parise, what an awesome season he's having. Awesome. Beautiful. Love what Zach Parise's brought to this team, leading the club in scoring with 49 points. But this week, Eriksson, Luke Kunin. What an amazing week by Luke Kunin. Amazing week. But Eriksson, again, just so strong on the puck now compared to what he was earlier in the season. 10 points for him. Kunin at 12 points. Awesome. After what a slow, quiet start once again. But Kunin's really coming around. Both of them at double digits. And what an unbelievable stretch by Jared Spurgeon at 35 points. And stay healthy, Jared. Please stay healthy. Please. He's played in all 57 games. Knock on wood. What an unbelievable season for him. Keep it up. Keep it up, Jared Spurgeon. Great week for those guys. Everyone else, what the bleep was that? Anthony Bitetto. I'm going to give the general manager for this week because of the way this team is constructed at the moment. Again, is there a method to it? I don't know, but let's see it. Let's see it, GM. But I'm going to give Paul Fenton the James Weber Memorial because this lineup doesn't make a whole lot of sense, particularly defensively. What is going on here? So let's get some semblance of rhyme or reason here defensively with these defensive pairings because of how Bruce Boudreau is getting set up here to fail, basically. So this one's on you, Paul Fenton, right now at the moment. Let's see what's going on. Maybe you'll get a Modano Brodin Award next time. With that said, let's take a quick break and we get to preview 4 more games. Oh, busy. And we are back here on Brave the Wild. Time to preview a few games here. In fact, quite a few. 4 games. Again, the schedule kind of getting tighter again after the long break. New Jersey Devils, St. Louis Blues, Anaheim Ducks. This is the start of a 4-game stretch. Starting off very poorly, that weird Philadelphia game. New Jersey Devils, St. Louis, Anaheim, and then on the road to the New York Rangers and Detroit Red Wings. But the Detroit game will be on next week's schedule. Detroit, St. Louis, Winnipeg next week. So we'll be playing the Blues on NBC Sports the next couple of weeks on Sunday afternoon. That'll be cool on the 17th of Feb, and the 24th at 6 p.m. on NBC Sports. So that'll be actually on the cable channel, 68 locally, and God knows where else, NBC Sports if you're not in Minnesota. But NBC is NBC. Whatever, right? Who cares, huh? New Jersey Devils coming to Xcel Energy Center. Win the game, please. That's all I got to say about that one. Very winnable game. Corey Schneider not good in net against Minnesota last time around. He has had an awful season. Goals against average over 4. Kincaid not much better. Both of them save percentage under 90, well under 90. In Schneider's case, about 87. Kincaid about 89%, though he did get the 3 shutouts in that hot start earlier in the season. In again, trying to fill in for Corey Schneider, who's not been good at all. He had a meniscus injury much earlier, going into last season. But Kincaid, ever since then, been about what he was before that. Whew! Their last game, 8-3 loss to St. Louis, who's been on fire, by the way. St. Louis Blues, so I'm extremely concerned about those coming in. Oh, boy, oh boy. Taylor Hall still out on IR. Spectacular player. Otherwise, you got Kyle Palmieri and Nico Hischier leading the way. We talked about them last week a bit. Brian Boyle traded away recently. I don't know, man. This is a team that's look on the outside looking in a big way. They are 1 in their last 5, including a loss to Minnesota recently. That was great. Losing 5-1 to the Los Angeles Kings, 2-1 to the New York Islanders all at home, 4-2 loss to Minnesota on Feb the 9th. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2 at home, and then again the 8-3 demolition in St. Louis, who again is playing spectacular. I expect them to lose again to Chicago at Chicago because both of those teams are playing great. St. Louis, Chicago, of course, big rivals of ours and of each other's before they play Minnesota back-to-back. Chicago and Minnesota back-to-back. I think they're going to both be losses for the New Jersey Devils. Minnesota needs to win this game. There's no excuse. Keep it coming. Zach Parise getting his 24th goal of the season against this team. Absolutely. I think he's going to score. Don't be surprised if Kunin and that continue their run. Who knows? Maybe Foligno. I don't know. But that third line has been great. I think they'll contribute in this game, contribute to the victory. But I got a feeling Parise is going to get goal number 24. I think he's going to get a goal in each of the games against New Jersey, as it had been so long coming in. New Jersey Devils, again, a definite mess. A couple of guys leading the way. One of them still, a borderline rookie. Obviously, it's his second year. Super young, 19-year-old Nico Hischier, who went number 1 overall 2 years ago. 40 points on the season, 16 of them goals. Kyle Palmieri leading the way with 24 goals on the season. Kind of like Jason Zucker last year. That's basically what Kyle Palmieri has been for the New Jersey Devils this year. No excuse, regardless of who's in net. Mackenzie Blackwood, he'd be the one that would give the Wild this trap game type of situation. But you've been sucking at home, Minnesota. You've been X'd at the X, which is the title of this episode. X'd at the X. But I don't care if Mackenzie Blackwood is in net, because he's the only goalie who's been decent this year. A couple of shutouts, 2.37 goals against average. He's the one I would put in net if I was the freaking Devils, but they probably won't. Probably won't. Yeah, he's the only one who's been respectable. But end their home losing streak, please, Minnesota. 4-2 win for Minnesota. Parise will be the most likely guy to score. Moving right along. Minnesota's going to play the St. Louis Blues on Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to watching it. National broadcast and everything, Star Sunday. It's going to be cool. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a win. I just don't. I would love it to be Xcel Energy Center. And if Minnesota does pull this off at home on national television, that'd be great. The goaltending in St. Louis has been bad most of the season. Chad Johnson's not real good. Jordan Binnington with a couple of shutouts this year. He's been great. He's been 10-1. So that'd be why St. Louis would beat the Minnesota Wild. And they're gonna. So, yeah, Jordan Binnington has been a nice emergence. He's one of the reasons why the Blues have been great. I hope for the Blues' sake he's not another Andrew Hammond. I love Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar. I love him on the Iowa Wild. I wouldn't mind him up in Minnesota, but he's going to have a hell of a time doing that with Alex Stalock inking a new 3-year deal. So that's probably out of the question. Chad Johnson's been a horrible disappointment. Lousy backup, kind of like a freaking Kemper. He's been a Kemper for Jake Allen, who's also been mediocre at best, like Backstrom in the later days of his career. Jake Allen's just awful. 3 goals against. Minnesota's not going to beat the St. Louis Blues. They've been a completely different team. Jordan Binnington has been a huge story of late. 2 goals or 2 shutouts for him. Save percentage about 93. 10-1 record is, who could miss this story? 10-1 record for Jordan Binnington. I was almost thinking about somebody else earlier. Vladimir Tarasenko, who's inconsistent, but when he's on, he's deadly. Had a hat trick on Sunday this past week. Again, up and down, but the Blues have won all 5 of their last games, including a demolition against New Jersey, like I talked about a minute ago. Many valuable players on this team. Braden Shen, 35 points. Not producing as high as he does other years, but still great. Alex Pietrangelo, one of the better defensemen out there. Ryan O'Reilly's leading the club with 57 points. Centering that top line and the power play and everything. Very valuable piece. 57 points, 21 goals. He scores goals. He sets other players up with 36 assists on the season. Again, Tarasenko, the sniper out of Russia, who, again, is inconsistent. That's why his numbers aren't as high as you'd like. But when he's on, he's so deadly. And I just think that and Tarasenko's always scored on the Wild. He's another one. He's like Jerome McGinley, just scoring goals against Minnesota nonstop. I think the St. Louis Blues win this thing like 4-1, 3-1, something like that. I just don't feel good about it. I think it's going to be another one of those hapless home losses. 4-1, 4-2, 3-1, empty net, whatever the hell it is. The most likely guy to score for the Minnesota Wild. I mean, Parise's had a lot of success against this team. I almost want to keep going with him, but maybe Kunin against the New Jersey Devils, but I don't know. I'm going to switch it. Luke Kunin's going to score his 5th goal against the New Jersey Devils, and Zach Parise's going to score against the St. Louis Blues. He'll be the only guy to score in the game. Maybe Granlund, I don't know. But Parise's had some success against this team over the years. It's just been classic. Whenever I see the Wild versus St. Louis, it's like Parise's going to score. I always feel that, and I think he will. One way or another. Maybe he scores in both games, because that's how Parise's been this season. So consistent for the Minnesota Wild. Again, 5-0 in their last 5, and the winning streak has just been well beyond that. 3-2 victory on Feb the 5th at Florida. 1-0 over the top team in the league, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Impressive. Mr. Binnington shutting out the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's why the Wild aren't going to beat the Blues. It's not because I'm Mr. Negative and I'm singing the Blues and I'm just Mr. Negativity. Because they're the best team in the league right now. The St. Louis Blues are the hottest team in hockey. They beat Tampa Bay 1-0 in Tampa. They beat Nashville 3-2 at home on Feb 9. Back-to-back sweep versus the Nashville Predators, home and home type of thing. At Nashville, 5-4 victory. Wow. And then again, the demolition versus New Jersey most recently. The Blues will play Arizona on tonight. The happy Valentine's to all of you that celebrate it, right? I'm just kidding. Yeah, happy Valentine's to all of you out there that care. I'm so mean. February the 16th at Colorado. And then a back-to-back. So that will possibly help the Wild. A back-to-back is what will help the Wild's chances of beating the St. Louis Blues. Maybe you won't have to face Jordan Binnington, but don't be surprised if we will. Colorado's got some good scores, though, so you might want Binnington in that one instead of... and we know how Jake Allen has beaten the Wild at times, but the Wild can beat Jake Allen as well. Remember, the Wild beat Jake Allen pretty soundly in the 14-15 playoffs when the Minnesota Wild beat the Blues in 6. And then a couple years later, when Bruce Boudreau was so damn good for us, 16-17, or was it 7? Yeah, 16-17, he was so damn good. And Boudreau and the Wild were just, were a strong team. And then Jake Allen shut us down like you wouldn't believe. So it's been kind of back and forth with him over the years. But the Wild's chances are a little bit higher, obviously, if Jake Allen's in net. I just think St. Louis is outplaying everybody right now, and I think they beat the Wild 4-2, 3-1 type of game. Probably 4-2. Unfortunately, they're just playing better. They're playing better. The good goaltending, good defense. They're playing like the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues aren't supposed to stink. They got all these players. They added some nice additions, and of course, that's what hurt Mike Yo's chances during the course of the season. But obviously, Mike Yo wasn't the problem here. He might have, you might not like everything he does, but I mean, you could be saying the same stuff about Bruce Boudreau. Inconsistency. It's not Boudreau's fault. It's not Mike Yo's fault. It's the players. But now you play the Anaheim Ducks. Here's a golden opportunity for Minnesota to win. Watch out for the sugar high, though. Carlisle's gone. The big bully coach is gone. The big mean guy. The 19th of February, Tuesday, hosting the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Trap game alert. Expect as possible sugar high from this Anaheim Ducks. Every single time a team fires their coach, especially if they didn't like the coach very much and the team had been underachieving, there's going to be a sugar high. So watch out for the trap game. Again, I think Minnesota can and should win this game anyway. I don't care. John Gibson, about 3 goals a game. Chad Johnson's been all over the place. Kevin Boyle, what a mess. I don't even know. I'm just expecting John Gibson in that. The actor. Okay, I'm just kidding. A team that doesn't score, a team that gives up goals, a team that the chemistry's not good. It's just not. Gibson, 2 shutouts on the season. Good save percentage at the end of the day. The goals against average stinks because the defense in front of him has been terrible at the end of the day, and the goals have not been happening. 31st in the league in goals for, 21st in goals against, so bottom third there. Power play is 29th in the league. Penalty kills in the middle at 16th. Ryan Getzlaf leading the way, missing a couple games earlier in the season. Adam Henrique, who has been known to score against Minnesota. Rickard Rakell, again, often compared to as Yul Eriksson Ek, with Yul Eriksson Ek, in terms of that's what Boudreau believes Yul Eriksson Ek could become, because he coached both Rakell and now Yul Eriksson Ek. Big fan of both of them is Bruce Boudreau. Good solid player, Rickard Rakell, second line type of center, but awful season for the Ducks. Minus 21 in Getzlaf's case, minus 18 in Rickard Rakell. A team that started out the season pretty good. Pontus Aberg. Nope, it's Aberg, who's been on the IR for a long time now for Minnesota, unfortunately. Had some moments with the Ducks earlier this season and also struggled at times as well. Was scratched multiple games in a row. Mental errors, frustration, not really with it. But again, expect a sugar high coming up here as the after the 6-2 loss to Philly at home. It was on the road in Philly for the Ducks. That was it for Randy Carlyle. And 4 days off, so it was a good time to fire the guy. You get a shutout, 1-0. 1-0. John Gibson gets his second shutout of the season. Good for him over the Vancouver Canucks. So again, watch out for the sugar high. Hopefully it wears off against Boston and Washington. Those are going to be tough games coming up. And then, but they are at home, the Ducks, for those two. And then they play Minnesota on the 19th. Very winnable game for the Minnesota Wild. Got to take care of business. I mean, going to the New York Rangers, they're playing a little bit better. I don't know. Do the Wild lose this game? Do they find a way to lose this one? I don't know. Man. Why do I have a feeling we're going to beat the Rangers and lose to the Ducks? I got a weird feeling about this. There's just no excuse. You could not lose to the Ducks. Okay? Just don't lose to the Ducks. Win, Minnesota, win. Maybe the Wild go 3-1 this week. Make up for things again. Because we all know how streaky this team can be. You got to beat the Ducks. You just got to. I don't care who their coach is. Beat the Ducks. They're not playing well regardless. Minnesota's going to win the game, okay? Minnesota's going to win the game 3-1, 3-2, something like that. Maybe even 4-2, 4-1 would be really nice. Nice, solid victory. Devin Dubnyk getting a nice, strong game. I'd like to see Alex Stalock play, but he will play against one of these two teams, the Ducks or the Rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Stalock against the Rangers, though. And that's probably exactly what's going to happen. Dubnyk in this one. Minnesota wins 4-1, something like that. Oh, nope, it's Detroit's the back-to-back. Pardon me. So Stalock will probably play against the Detroit Red Wings. So, my bad. I apologize for that. 3-1 win for Minnesota. Let's go with that. The most likely guy to score against the Anaheim Mighty Ducks for Minnesota, Yul Eriksson Ek. Yul Eriksson Ek, he's going to keep it going. Yul Eriksson Ek is going to score. I expect Kunin to factor. That third line has just been wonderful. I love what they're doing. I'm not going to go with Coyle. He's not been visible at all. Yul Eriksson Ek is going to score against the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, and Minnesota wins 3-1. Shut down this Ducks team after their little sugar high. Maybe they win another game somewhere, but Minnesota hopefully taking care of business against the Anaheim Ducks. New York Rangers aren't so great either, but a nice little win for the young goaltender on Sunday. I was afraid I was going to forget, but I didn't. Alexander Georgiev getting his first career shutout on his 23rd birthday. Boy, the goals against average not good, but a nice shutout for him on Sunday. Very cool. Good for him. Talented players on this New York team, but not a good record. A team that's under 500 by 4 games. They're really struggling. 7th place in the Metropolitan Division. Not a bad game against Winnipeg recently, but shutting out the Carolina Hurricanes most recently. No, he did not shut out Toronto, but it was a 4-1 win over Toronto. My bad. He did not shut them out. It was the game before where he got this first shutout, did Mr. Georgiev. So good for him there. The only shutout on the season for the New York Rangers, Georgiev, as Lundqvist getting a couple of days off. He's had an awful season. 3 goals against. Minnesota's had some success against Lundqvist, and Lundqvist has had some success against the Wild. over the many, many years. What an awesome goalie he's been, helping this club get to the Stanley Cup Finals in the past. Only once, but almost a couple years before that. It would have been New York, LA twice. It could have happened very easily, but Parisi's Devils said nope. New York Rangers just up, down, up, down, up, down. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. Losing 4-3 versus the Los Angeles Kings, which probably would have happened anyway in both of those finals. They did lose in the 2014 finals, did the Rangers to the LA Kings. Feb the 4th, a victory over the Boston Bruins on the 6th. Impressive. 3-0 loss to Carolina. See, I'm losing my mind here. I'm losing my mind. Let's just leave that alone. Whatever, right? A victory over Toronto, again, Georgiev on his 23rd birthday with a nice 4-1 victory on national television. That was cool on Star Sunday. That was a nice win. I felt good for him. 23rd birthday, so hopefully for his case, Georgiev can get a little step up a bit and become the goalie of the future for the Rangers. 4-3 loss to Winnipeg at Winnipeg. Not a bad game, most recently on Feb the 12th. Let's see if the pattern continues. You lose to Buffalo, you beat Pittsburgh. Okay, no, you beat Buffalo, you lose to Pittsburgh. Beat Carolina, lose to Minnesota. Okay, so maybe that's what'll happen. 4 road games in a row here. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Carolina, up and coming. No back-to-backs until New Jersey and Washington after Minnesota. Talented team, though. Zibanejad, 46 points for him, 25 goals. Chris Kreider, 24 goals for him and 43 total points. Zuccarello has been in trade talks. Will the Wild go after him? I don't think the Wild are buyers at this point. So, no. I think the Wild do not get Zuccarello. I think somebody else does. Matt Zuccarello, power play guy there. Defensively, 11 assists on the power play. He's even had a couple of goals. Very nice, strong defensive with 9 goals on the season. Would be a welcome addition to the Minnesota Wild, but I don't think it's coming. Kevin Shattenkirk has not been even close to as advertised after some success in St. Louis years ago and minimal success with the Washington Capitals. Ever since that trade, Kevin Shattenkirk has not been the same guy, and not even close. He was a dominant superstar defenseman for the St. Louis Blues, and he has not been the same since. And I'm sure they'd take him back right now, even though they're playing great, are the St. Louis Blues. The Rangers can score a little bit. They're top-heavy, but their goaltending has not been good. Their defense has been awful, and they're just, I don't know, they're just not a complete team. Kind of sounds familiar to the team that plays about 10 plus miles east of here. So, I don't know, east of Golden Valley, Minnesota, where I'm at right now. Very winnable game for Minnesota. Minnesota plays good on the road. I think the Wild beat the Rangers. 4-2. Zucker or Stahl? Who's going to score in the game? Will Stahl be traded by this point? Let's go with Zucker. Zucker's going to score in the game. He better. The guy needs to end his on and off again droughts during the course of the season. End this next drought, which is a little bit shorter than the last one. End the drought now before it becomes a legitimate drought. Minnesota's going to win the game, 4-2 type of game. Maybe an empty netter by Granlund or something, because he's the king of empty net goals. Go get your 14th, Granlund. Go get your 14th. You know, have a nice short drought, like just a week drought or so for Mikhail Granlund. It would be like a week and a half or so. He scored on Sunday versus the New York Islanders there. Man, that was a long drought. But Minnesota's going to have a 3-1 week. Maybe you lose to the frickin' Ducks or something, or you lose to the Rangers. But I'm going to go on the optimistic side. And you know how streaky this team can be, up and down. Hopefully you can sweep that East Coast. Well, Detroit's not even that East Coast, but east of here, Eastern Conference back-to-back with the Rangers and Detroit. That's a tough kind of schedule, moving around a bit there. So, you got to fly to Detroit from New York. It's not that far, but it's a little ways. And you got to do it right away and all that back-to-back. I don't know. That's going to be a tough, weird game, and Detroit's been an annoying team to play against. I kind of think the Wild won't win that one, but hopefully Stala can stand on his head and help things out for the Wild to win 2-1 or something. But I think Minnesota's going to beat the Rangers, though, on the 21st, with most likely Dublik in that case. 3-1 week for Minnesota. So there you go. With that, let's look at the prospects. As always, we will start with the Iowa Wild. They've had some good games, some bad games. Well, not really bad. They've been up and down a bit. Brennan Mennel now at 23 points on the season, adding his 22nd assist this past week. Had some positive games, though. Louis Belpedio continues to add the points, though. Really happy for him. 17 on the season. He's been great. Really stepping up there, playing on the correct side, the right side. Literally on the right side Carson Soucy, he's been adding the points. He's been inconsistent, but a +10. He's definitely gotten better during the course of the year. Poor start to the season, Carson Soucy, but definitely has stepped up since then. Michael Capella, 4 assists in his first 5 games with the Iowa Wild. J.T. Brown's had 3 points, but he's not a prospect, obviously. Kakinen, stuck at 5 shutouts on the season. Still been good. Andrew Hammond's improved. He's lowered his goals against average about .2 the past week and a half or so. So he's been really strong. 11-7 on the season. Kakinen, 15-9, 2.54 goals against average. Both of their save percentage about 91 on the season. Good defense in front of Kakinen, but also some spectacular games, including the shutouts, and that's kept him playing very strong. Will Biden also at 17 points on the year. Sokolov added his 10th goal recently. Good for him. 19 points on the season at this stage. Honest at 22 points now as he continues to rise up. Mason Shaw, who'd been so quiet for so long, added his 21st assists recently. 25 points for him. Iowa Wild have been kind of up and down, up and down. The record, they've kind of been playing 500 hockey the past month or so. You just, you want to believe that they're ready to roll and they're going to make the playoffs, and obviously they should, but it's just this 500 hockey is not helping their cause at the moment. That's where the frustration comes in. Some of the prospects have these big, strong weeks and have a couple of awesome games, and then they get real quiet again. But been very impressive with Louis Belpedio. I think he's been the best player on the ice, at least in terms of the major prospects. All season, Cal O'Reilly and Jared Mayhew have really been leading the way. Gerald Mayhew has been definitely the best player the past 2 weeks or so, I'd have to say, along with Matt Reed, who's really stepped up. He's now at 27 points, but these are older guys. Cal O'Reilly, 31. Mayhew's 25, so he's got a shot still to maybe crack a roster here and there in the NHL, but not consistently, unfortunately. Been happy with the Chris Kapla addition for Iowa. I like him better than Ryan Murphy. Unfortunately, another left side, so he's going to have a hell of a time making it. Soucy's stuck in Iowa forever if we keep bringing in all these left side players. And again, it's also rendered Brad Hunt borderline useless now because Mr. Fenton is obsessed with Mr. Bitetto. So I'm not sure what to say about that. Really not sure what to say about it. But the Iowa Wild, they've been just kind of 500-ish. And the prospects, they just chip in points here and there, but nothing great, unfortunately. Jack McBain, Boston College, that team just stinks. As you look in the collegiate ranks, that team just absolutely stinks. And McBain, he's doing the best he can. 6 goals, 11 points on the season, but still not standing out at all. And again, a stinky team. Sam Hatch is playing for the top team in the country. Again, strong start. He added a couple points this past week, though, now at 13. He was stuck at 11 for a long time with Sam Hatch's 6 goals, 7 assists. In his case, Ladnia hasn't played in forever, and that's disappointing. Let's look at Jacob Golden. Since being traded to the Erie Otters, he's added 3 assists. He's at 13 points, so he's way ahead of last year's pace. Would like to see Jacob Golden get to 20 points. Left shot defenseman taking in the 5th round in 2017. He's been in the OHL ever since, and he was in the OHL before that. Sweeney, after the hat trick, he hasn't done anything, unfortunately, so that's a shame. 11 goals on the season, way above last season's 6 goals total, setting up other players more than that last year. This year he's been more of a scorer, 8 assists for 19 points in 24 games, well ahead of last year's pace as well. So Sweeney continued to progress and become a bit of a goal scorer for the defending national champion Duluth Bulldogs. Brandon Duhaime, who's also been a bit quiet, unfortunately. Then again, no, he was quiet, and he definitely picked up the pace. Ahead of last year as well, 23 points, only 3 points behind last year, with 10 games to go to catch up to last year. He's equaled last year's goal total, which is 7. Just 3 more assists, and he's right there. So I expect Duhaime to have career highs in his junior season for Providence there, who's about 9th in the country, if I remember correctly. So good for him. Very strong for him. Jack Sadik has been adding points a bit, but he's definitely way at a career high now. 13 points, 3 of them goals. Right shot defenseman, 4. And again, top defenseman, literally the Ryan Suter, so to speak, for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. But that team stinks, and they have just been awful. They got absolutely obliterated by Penn State last week. Obliterated. 18th in the country, Penn State. 18th doesn't get you in the NCAA tournament, by the way. It doesn't. You got to be like 12th-ish. And of course, other teams win their conference tournament where they wouldn't have made it And, yeah, then you're absolutely not going to make it unless you win your conference tournament. So, which I don't think the Gophers are going to do this year. They can't string together two games in a row, other than nice, super good weekend against Notre Dame this year. They can't even win 2 games in a row. It's a bleeping joke. So with that said, I'm not optimistic at all about the Gophers. In the next 2 years, though, I do believe Bob Motzko will have this team in a much, much, much better place. But unfortunately, Jack Static will not see that as a member of the team. Hopefully, Jack Static will have some success with the Iowa Wild starting this April. This March and April maybe help them in a playoff run. Right shot. They could, I guess they could use his help. He probably won't do that well at the AHL right out of the gate. I'd be quite surprised, honestly. But sometimes he gets caught sleeping and such. It's just, I don't know. He drives me absolutely nuts. Connor Dewar has been great. Simon Johansson's been better than Philip Johansson, I would say, at least in the scoring department. Pretty solid. At the end of the day, Klovanov is the one I just love. Love him, the Russian center. 59 points, 22 of them goals for the Moncton Wildcats in the QMJHL, Major Junior Hockey League of Quebec. Only 18 years old, 5'11", left shot center for Minnesota. So as frustrating as the current team is, there is hope. There is hope in the grapevine. There's hope. You want to believe, a lot of us out there want to say the cupboards are bare, and in a lot of ways they are. I mean, Iowa, it's not pretty. A lot of the quote-unquote prospects that were on Iowa last year are all like some of the best players on the Wild right now, considering how underachieving some of the older guys in the Minnesota Wild have been, and how underachieving the middle-aged players. As in, they're not old, they're in the middle. They're like 28, 29, 26, Granlund, Zucker, Coyle, and, of course, Niederreiter, Brodin, guys like that. Niederreiter's gone, duh. But I'm just mentioning the name because he's underachieved all bleeping season. But no, now you have Kunin, Greenway, and Eck all playing great. So those guys are no longer prospects. They're prospects on the NHL level, yes. They're in the NHL. You could call them a prospect in terms of their, but they're already in the NHL. Whereas Iowa, the top guy, I'd have to say, it's Louis Belpedio, easily. I mean, if anybody else you'd consider like the top prospect on the Iowa Wild at the moment. Louis Belpedio, Brendan Mennel, who's been a nice surprise. Sam Honest is a guy I think deserves an opportunity to play NHL hockey. Right shot, this and that. And if Eric Stahl's traded, I want Sam Honest called up. I want him called up to play on the right side, and then Coyle moved to top center. He can be the top center. And there it is. Charlie Coyle, golden opportunity to be the top center for Minnesota, if he isn't traded. That could stay right where he is. I love the way things are going there. But Coyle to basically take over the Stahl line, and I guess Victor Rask has to move up. But oh boy, I think that third line should be the freaking second line the way they're playing right now. But I don't know. Whatever. It's a tough situation. It really is. At the end of the day. Of course, you could definitely leave Granlund right where he is. So no, I mean Granlund would be with Parise. Yeah. Granlund would be with Parise, and you move Anas maybe with Parise. Parise and Granlund, you put Anas there for Coyle. You move Coyle where Zucker is, and there it is. Coyle where where Stahl is. So Coyle would center Greenway and Zucker. That'd be an interesting combination. Maybe I think I'd rather almost have Granlund center Zucker and Zucker and Greenway. I think I'd like that, or maybe you have Parise. I'd like to see Coyle. Oh, it's a toughie. Coyle, Honest, and Greenway. Granlund, Parise, Zucker. I think that's a great chemistry. Granlund, Parise, Zucker. That'd be a good group, I think, right there. And then Eck, Kunin, and Foligno, don't even touch it. Don't even touch it. They're playing great. And the fourth line is what it is. Hendricks, Rask, Rao. I'd rather say Fair, though, as the center. Not as the center, but as the, we'll say, he'd be the right wing. I don't know what's going on with some of these setups. But, Rask, Rao, and Fair. Otherwise, Hendricks and Fair could kind of be interchangeable. Rask could play on the wing, but he's a center as well, obviously. I'd rather have him as center at the end of the day. The defensive pairings, I guess it is what it is. What are you going to do? Anthony Bitetto, but Mr. Bitetto is going to be the left shot second-line guy, which is like a joke. Sealer's better, but you're not going to move Brodin down, obviously. But having Brodin as the right defenseman is just a weird situation. But no, that's how I'd have my lines, though. Coyle would center Greenway and Parise. Yeah, so I'd shuffle it a bit, the top six. It wouldn't, I'd have Granlund, center, Zucker, and Greenway. No, Granlund, Parise, Zucker. Granlund, Parise, Zucker, Coyle, Greenway, and Honest. Coyle, Greenway, and Honest. That'd be your top 6. And then, yeah, the fourth, the bottom 6, just leave them the way they are. And the defenseman, there's nothing you can really do. So if I had a choice with the line combinations at the end of the day, that would be my choice as the coach of the Minnesota Wild or whatever. So that's how things should go there. With that said, well, we're going to give a shout out to Minnesota Wild Hardcore and, of course, MNW players, MNW prospects now. See, MNW prospects on Facebook. Look it up. Give that a like and follow. Join it if you could. It'd be greatly appreciated. Pavel Bunet and Marek Skyba out of the Czech Republic. They keep up with all the prospects, and just like I love to on this show, it's so much fun. Absolutely endorsing them all the way. Love the job they do. They keep up with the players in Europe that are with Minnesota. Obviously, Kirill Kaprizov, Kaapo Kakkonen when he was there. Kaapo Kakkonen, luckily now he's in Iowa. But there's other prospects over there in Europe that we like to keep up with, and there's more coming, boy. There's more coming as we head into this draft and drafts in the future. Definitely worth a follow there on Facebook. At Brave the Wild is the Twitter account. Give that a follow. Always want to thank Vince Germano, who often retweets the show. I don't think he did this week, but oftentimes he does. And want to thank you very much out of Australia. Thank you again, Vince Germano, for retweeting the show and others that may have over the course of time. Greatly, greatly appreciated there. At Brave the Wild. Facebook.com/Brave the Wild. Facebook.com/Brave the Wild is the Facebook page for this show. I got teased a little bit by Drew Bunting when I showed, I shared basically Pavel Bunet's post from Minnesota Wild Hardcore. He was showing how Kunin in 5 games at 7 points since Feb 5th. That is just great. Feb 7th, 4 points for Eriksson. Great week and a half for these guys. They're just playing great together. Awesome. Thank you, Pavel Bunet, for adding that. And hope he doesn't mind that I kind of copied and shared this on my page. Though I gave him the credit by loading it with his name on it, so obviously there it is. It's not me saying it, it's him. Thank you again, Mr. Pavel Bunet, for keeping up with that. Great job, Minnesota Wild Prospects. And, of course, he's also an admin on Minnesota Wild Hardcore. I have a patch coming. Thank you, Chad Walski. I have another patch coming. That is awesome. Thank you. Got to put that on the jersey. Minnesota Wild Hardcore. Huge shout out to Chad Walski, Jim Maddle, Sarah Maddle. You guys are great. Chance Kostick, David Kostick. Relatives of mine from my brother's side in terms of, they're in-laws. Brother-in-law in Chance Kostick's side. He's my brother's father-in-law, David Kostick. They keep up with the Wild all over the place, and they're members of Minnesota Wild Hardcore. It's all a big, happy family with the Minnesota Wild on Minnesota Wild Hardcore. And, of course, MNW Prospects. Love all of you guys. I love the hockey community. Love you guys so much. Thanks again for being a part of things. Tell your friends about the show if you could. Those of you that have written a positive rating on iTunes, thank you so much. And anybody out there that wants to continue to do that, wants to add to that list, thank you again, as it helps. It had been so quiet for so long. And early on, the trolls really, really hit this show hard. Because, some people just it's not exactly the way you want the show, and you want to beat them up. You want to beat the guy up and give him a 1 star, which is always way too harsh, and write a paragraph of how awful somebody is. It's like, my Lord, can't you think of something more positive in life than beating up on somebody's podcast? That's kind of harsh, but that's what people do. And those of you, though, that have taken the time to write the positive ratings, thank you again. And anybody else out there that's willing to do that, thank you in advance. And I will give you a huge shout out on air and a thank you if and when you are able to do that. Again, tell your friends about the show if you could. Positive rating, iTunes, Stitcher, Double Twist, whatever. Thanks again in advance. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully the Minnesota Wild play a little bit better here, and we get to continue to see more and more positive steps forward for the Luke Kunnins, Eriksson, and Jordan Greenways. Love what those guys are doing out there. And other than that, brace yourself, as I think there's at least one more trade coming before the deadline.